somewhat credible people involved, and you can say, well, maybe they just couldn't get the goods. These leads went dark. But given what we know now, particularly someone willing to cooperate at one point in time, and the voluminous records in the emails and files, it doesn't add up. It simply doesn't add up that they didn't pursue these people. And you say, well, that's in the Trump oversight of the DOJ, as mentioned, especially when Epstein died, and they were then looking at where Brunel was. As I mentioned, he was later picked up in Europe, and these other people. And then, of course, you switch to a different Democratic administration, and they didn't pursue these leads. Anytime we talk about leads that were not pursued from that 2019 period on, you have first Trump and then the Garland Justice Department. And so the question is how this seemed to become the status quo, that Epstein got away with so much, had all these other people allegedly, potentially implicated, and then we now learn in the files who he's emailing. Now, in some cases, you have to follow the lead. It may be that he emails to someone a request and they don't help him. We've seen examples where he was clearly exaggerating and lying about his level of connections or people he knew, and he had his various plots for doing that. Here in the case of this, for example, Democratic lawyer, she appears to respond by email, get on the phone with people. She appears to be helpful to him, and she's not operating as his attorney. Again, everyone has the right to an attorney. She's operating in some other capacity, and we've seen a lot of Republicans also implicated with this, or the prosecutor who first gave him that special sweetheart deal, Acosta, being welcomed into Trump's cabinet in the first term. Trump's second term cabinet official, Howard Lutnick, lying blatantly about this, claiming he cut off ties with Epstein because he was so bad, then caught lying about visiting the island, no consequences for him. So again, I'm trying to follow this as a investigative lawyer would and a journalist would, looking at all the facts, not worrying about who looks bad. But what you see are a level of connections with elites, obviously rich and powerful billionaires, and also the politically connected in both parties, that raises the question. Now then some people want to say, oh, well, it's obvious the fix is in, and here's their conclusion. We can't do that factually, and I don't think that adds to the record. I think we have to pursue, as the Journal did, as I'm telling you about these files, as I've tried to do in other reports, what we're doing here piece by piece with the evidence. But this new evidence and the way the Journal has looked at just this one lead, and I'm telling you about others, does suggest that leads were not followed, the normal course of investigative work didn't happen, and that Epstein was trying to exercise these political links and pressure points across both parties. So that's a big problem. You need a really independent investigation that is exempt from both parties' pressure if you want to get to the bottom of all this, to have a reckoning, to have the accountability, as we see in the UK, 2 top officials, a former prince arrested there. What other countries and some organizations are doing, we still haven't gotten to the bottom of that here. So I went through a lot. If you're still watching now, thanks for sticking with me. I'm trying to do this methodically. If you have questions, you can put them on YouTube, and I'll get to that. You can subscribe to Ari Melber for these kind of breakdowns, and stay informed.